Why are so many people leaving the prairie state of Illinois and moving down here to the natural state of Arkansas, the land of Lincoln? What's happening up there to where you guys are coming down here to Arkansas? As a local real estate broker here in Arkansas, many of my stories are about why people move to Northwest Arkansas, but today is state content. My name is Anthony Mosley, and I help people just like you, after presenting them the facts, decide, is Arkansas going to be the best place for them to live or not? Some people decide not to move here, and that's just okay. Like many of my other videos, at the end of this state content will be a quick speed round, so be sure to stick around to the end for the fun speed round. After multiple years as a real estate broker, there are multiple reasons as to why people relocate to a new area. Sometimes it's moving away from pain and towards pleasure. As you think about the pain of the state of Illinois, there are probably a few things that come to mind, and believe it or not, there are many reasons why people leave Arkansas or relocate within the state. But you're looking at potentially relocating to Arkansas, and I'm going to help deliver to you many positives and negatives to help again with your decision. First off, let's talk about what everybody loves to talk about, and that's taxes. You love to talk about taxes, right? Well, according to Cook County, Illinois, there in the Chicagoland area, compared to one of the most expensive places to live here in Arkansas is Benton County. We're talking about sales tax. The minimum combined sales tax there in Cook County is about 10.25%, whereas here in Benton County, the combined minimum is 9.5%. You may be looking at that difference of 0.75% and say, hey, you know what, that's quite a bit. Actually, it's really not. Let's go ahead and look to say if you and your family were heavy consumers and you bought around $30,000 worth of consumer goods, television, couches, what have you, each year, that's only a difference of less than $300, again, on $30,000, 1% being $300, so less than $300 difference. So not much of a difference there. Let's move down to property taxes, where there is a much bigger difference. If you were to take a $600,000 home, again, we're just talking about average numbers based off of tax rates I was able to find online. If you were to take around a $600,000 home there in Illinois compared to a $600,000 home here in Arkansas, you're going to spend about $10,000 difference in property tax. Millage rates there in Illinois are about 2.12 to 2.83, whereas here in Arkansas, the millage rates, depending on where you are in the state, are between 0.57 and 0.62 on assessed value, with Arkansas being around the 14th lowest nationally in regards to property tax. Next, on to income tax. Illinois has a flat income tax rate of 4.95% as of the shooting of this video. I'm not an accountant, not a CPA, so always take that into consideration. Here in Arkansas, we're one of the 18 states, I believe 18 states, that has a graduated income tax rate anywhere from 1% to 7%. But essentially, your low to mid income earners are lower here in Arkansas than they are there in Illinois. Let's go ahead and wrap up this section with one more statistic. Is here in Arkansas, we pay a personal property tax on our boats, our RVs, our cars, even commercial cattle we pay annually, which is due, I believe, by the middle of May every year, where you don't have that in Illinois. So there may be some flex there, but overall, Arkansas's tax burden is going to be less than it is there in Illinois. Okay, enough of taxes. Let's move on to the labor and growth markets here in Arkansas compared to Illinois. According to multiple sources online, including World Population Review, between the years of 2020 and 2025, the state of Illinois lost about 250,000 residents. Here in Arkansas, during that same time, we gained about 80,000 residents. Many of your state people there in Illinois moved down to Arkansas. Of course, we're talking about population growth and gain. Of course, there's births and deaths. All things considered, like the natural growth rate, Arkansas has gained where Illinois has lost residents. According to recent Bureau of Labor Statistics data of April to May 2025, Illinois' unemployment rate is around 4.8%, national average is around 4.2%, and Arkansas's unemployment rate is 3.7%. So a little bit lower unemployment here in Arkansas than there in Illinois. Illinois' GDP and business present, the per capita GDP, gross domestic product there in Illinois, is $70,443 per person, with a GDP of about $1.1 trillion, which is significantly higher than here in Arkansas, where our state's GDP is around $176 billion. But Arkansas is home to 4 Fortune 500 companies as of 2025 with Walmart, Tyson, J.B. Hunt, and Murphy USA. All in all, to wrap up this section, Arkansas offers a growing job market, low unemployment, and strong business climate, whereas Illinois there is struggling with out-migration. According to Milken Institute, Northwest Arkansas is ranked the 7th metro for economic performance in regards to population growth. Respectively, Washington County has grown at 10.2% and Benton County at 13.7%. Some of the fastest growing cities and suburbs here in Arkansas are going to include towns like Cave Springs, Lowell, Bella Vista, Bentonville, Centerton, Westport, Whitehall, and Valonia, just to name a few. Growth that is attributed to GDP increase here in Northwest Arkansas is the tech industry as well as construction. Earlier, we had talked about housing cost of living, but this section is all talking about cost of living. Many of my statistics in this section come from Forbes.com cost of living calculator, as well as MyLifeElsewhere.com. And according to our friends over at Zillow, the average home there in Illinois as of 2025 is around $282,900, whereas here in Arkansas, it's just over $219,000. Again, folks, we're talking about the entire state. Yes, there are certain regions that are higher than others and lower than others. These are average numbers. So about $64,000 on average for a home in Illinois compared to a home here in Arkansas. And let's not forget, combined with the property tax we talked about earlier, not only are the homes more cost effective here in Arkansas, but also the property taxes are more cost effective. So you got a kind of a double compound effect there. In regards to total overall cost, when we're talking about haircuts and food, newspapers, dry cleaning, all of the things that go into your normal daily life, Arkansas is consistently ranked one of the most cost-effective states in the country. In fact, I believe the last 15 to 20 years on the top 5 list of lowest cost of living states. Of course, mentioned earlier, there's different comparison. Real estate is hyper-local. You're going to hear me say that on a lot of videos. Of course, urban centers like Chicago are going to be much more expensive to live than urban centers like Northwest Arkansas or even around the Little Rock area. That being said, there is significant relocation potential moving from wherever you are in Illinois to wherever you are here in Arkansas. It may be a cost of living move across the border. You might have the opportunity to significantly benefit yourself by relocating to a very expensive area in Illinois to a much less cost of living burden here in Arkansas. Another factor many people consider is crime and safety. And me as a real estate broker, I have to be very careful talking about crime and safety in regards to where you might live. So of course, my data sources, I usually go back to crimegrade.org, safehome.org, and according to some of the statistics in this next section, taxfoundation.org. Arkansas actually has more crime per capita than there in Illinois. Would you believe it? According to the sources we mentioned earlier, violent crime was around 645 per 100,000 people, and property crime is around 2,452 per 100,000 people here in Arkansas. And according to those same sources, Illinois' violent crime is around 407 per 100,000 people, and property crime is 1,847 per 100,000 people. So much less crime in Illinois versus Arkansas. Metro differences, Little Rock's crime is higher than Chicago's. But my friend, there are safe cities in Illinois, there are safe cities in Arkansas. According to the sources we had mentioned earlier, some of the cities you might consider would be Bella Vista, Greenwood, Centerton, Cave Springs, Lowell, Farmington, Prairie Grove, are again, according to those resources, some of the safest cities to live in the entire state of Arkansas. Type in your zip code to what you're used to, the crime that you're used to, compared to maybe a city that you might be looking to move here in Arkansas. And of course, when you're looking to relocate, many people don't want to relocate to an area that has higher crime. Most people, just like you, want to relocate to an area away from that high crime into a lower crime area. So again, do your research. Those sources I mentioned have been a great tool for multiple other clients. Next is education and schools. We're looking at state-to-state content like we have been this whole video. Illinois has higher education attainment. That means high school graduates, college graduates. Arkansas, on the other hand, according to multiple resources online, out of the 50 states, Arkansas ranks all the way down to 47. Depending on where you are and what's important to you, my friend, maybe education and school is not important to you. If you are looking for some of the best schools in the area in Arkansas, I would encourage you to go to niche.com. You'll see that there are multiple really good schools that are ranked according to that website in the Northwest Arkansas area, here where I live. Some of the elite schools that may bubble up to the top of the list are Haas Hall Academy, that has multiple locations, John Brown University as far as higher education, as well as the University of Arkansas. No, I will not call those hogs. Now, I caution you, my friend, even though you might not have school-aged children, many people, when looking at the resale of a property, are also considering, is the home that they're looking to purchase in a school district? Again, just for that resale value maybe later on. As far as natural amenities that abound here in Arkansas, we're going to touch a little bit about that in our speed round, but next on our list, let's talk about climate. There's no doubt, my friend, that especially during the winter months, Illinois is going to experience much colder temperatures and much more snowfall than what we see here in Arkansas. Your winters, you have harsh winters, heavy snow, lots of lake effect snow right there around Lake Michigan, of course, the Chicagoland area. Whereas here in Arkansas, some of our areas only receive about 10 to 15 inches of snowfall on average per year. Here where I live in Benton County, we get about 9 inches of snowfall a year on average. So some winters I might be able to get through the whole winter just wearing a hoodie. Some winters I might have to bundle up a few days of the year to put on some gloves, hats, and maybe a good pair of boots and go out and shovel some snow. But after a few days, that snow is gone. As promised at the beginning of the video, I'm going to give you a bit of a speed round comparing Illinois to Arkansas. First off, we have travel. Illinois has multiple international airports to where you can leave that airport and fly somewhere else in the world, much less anywhere else in the United States, whereas here in Arkansas, we've got a couple of national airports that you're probably going to have to fly out of our national airport to fly somewhere like Dallas, Atlanta, or even Chicago in order to get somewhere internationally or to multiple other destinations here in the United States. So chalk one up there for Illinois. Next on population density, Illinois' population density is 232 people per square mile. So very compact compared to Arkansas's 57 people per square mile. So you get a little bit more elbow room here in Arkansas. I'm not a big fan about talking politics here on my channel, but let's go ahead and address that. Arkansas is a red state. Ever since Bill Clinton left office,
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Arkansas has been voting a red state, whereas Illinois has consistently been a blue state. If you're a sports fan, there's no doubt that Illinois certainly tops Arkansas when it comes to major sports to watch. I, for one, who grew up in Michigan, would certainly want to watch Mark Grace and Ryan Sandberg for the Chicago Cubs. And of course, who didn't know about Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen for the Bulls? But I will tell you that Scottie Pippen is actually from Hamburg, Arkansas, which Arkansas does have the Naturals in minor league baseball. Of course, we have professional soccer, but not Major League Soccer here in Northwest Arkansas. And we have the Razorbacks, and I still will not call those hogs. Last but not least on our speed round is topography. There in Illinois, you're known as the Prairie State. Arkansas, we're known as the Natural State. That may have something to do with our topography. Whereas there in Illinois, you have very flat topography. Your highest point is actually in Charles Mound at 1,235 feet, and our highest point is Mount Magazine in Arkansas at 2,753 feet. We have the Ouachita Mountains, the Boston Mountain Range, and of course we're here in the Ozarks, where it lends itself to lakes, rivers, and of course hiking and many mountain biking trails for you to enjoy. My friend, it's always a pleasure to put this information together, and now you know a little bit more about what life is like in and around Bentonville and Arkansas. Thanks for watching.